Hello, guys. Johan here, back with another edition of Unscripted. I promised you there'd be wine on this show, and well, this time is the it's time for me to actually live up to my promise. Bit of a fair warning here. If you watched my last video, you'd see it kind of turned into a dumbfounded rant at the end because I was completely taken aback by what I tasted. There's a chance that something like this might happen again. Because what I have behind me here is not just wine, it is actually, yeah, it is wine from the Holy Land, from Galilee rather. Um, Not something you see every day, at least not here in Denmark. Motorbike. Not something you see every day here in Denmark. I hear there's actually a rather large production of the wine going on in Israel, but most of it is consumed locally or it is exported to New York or other cities with large Jewish populations. Um, Bit of fair warning here, we might actually be dealing with a somewhat of a controversial product here. I do realize that. But I'm not here to talk millennial conflicts. I am here to try something unique and different. So we'll keep it at that. What makes these wines behind me here unique are that they are, well, obviously they're made in the Golan Heights, which is not an area actually famed for its wine production. Other than that, they're actually made using grapes that are not really traditional to Middle Eastern wine production, at least not to my knowledge. They're made using grapes that are popular in many other places around the world. Um, Take the first one here, for instance, the Mount Hermon white, and that's obviously not how you pronounce it, but that's how I'm going to pronounce it. 2013 is made with a mix of Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc grapes, which are grapes that are actually known for thriving in colder climates. Chardonnay has, well, really reaches its zenith in the the northern French wine regions like Champagne, obviously, and Burgundy, where they produce some smashing and insanely expensive wines. Sauvignon Blanc, on the other hand, is mainly, well, it's produced all over the world, but mainly it is, well, those wines from New Zealand on Sauvignon Blanc are considered to be the best. So these are two cold climate grapes that have been, well, transported to a desert climate and then turned into wine. The idea behind this is obviously that they are grown in the desert, but they're grown at a pretty high altitude, meaning that they don't get as much heat exposure as you normally see. So anyway, desert wine made on cold climate grapes. And yeah, obviously I've got no frame of reference for Israeli wine here, but this actually it reminds me of a, well, sort of a New Zealand style Sauvignon Blanc, and then not really. It has sort of that fruity sweetness to a tropical fruity sweetness to the scent. It doesn't have the grassiness that I would assume. It does have a bit of a Chardonnay note as well. This is made in steel tanks, or it's aged in steel tanks, so it doesn't get like the buttery notes that some Chardonnays do. Um, Really clear cut Chardonnay acidity on this. Not as much Sauvignon Blanc character in the taste as you would expect, but we're sort of up to a good start here. It's it's not what I would. It does taste like a cold climate wine. I will say that much. Usually, Chardonnay has a tendency to turn into like a fruit bomb, uh, sweet kind of thing if it gets too much heat exposure, and this obviously doesn't seem to be the case here. Um, It's interesting and then not. I mean, if this was from any other place in the world, I wouldn't be thrilled about it. The fact that it is from Israel sort of makes it interesting. Um, it's not a top effort wine, but it's definitely drinkable. And to be honest, quite a lot better than I'd expect um, from something like this. You get you get tropical fruit, you get steel cut Chardonnay acidity. You don't get a terrible lot going on in this. I will pass on this in the future, but interesting, definitely. Oh, new glass. You don't see me spitting here. Obviously, that would be what most people do, but I've never really worked with the whole spitting wine concept. I don't get it. I think it is an insult to the people who put their heart and soul into it. Oops. um, Apparently, they do red wine in Israel as well, and this is a mix of Cabernet Sauvignon and Shiraz grapes. So it's a bit of a more of a warmer climate thing. This is something you usually find in well, the southern part of France or maybe even California. They grow these type of grapes. So again, this is a bit of more of a warmer climate kind of thing, but it's still down in Israel, still grown at quite an altitude, so that it doesn't get the heat exposure that you would get in the middle of the desert otherwise. Oh, that's interesting. Um, you get like really clear cut Cabernet Sauvignon notes on this, and by that I mean like dark fruit, cherries, cherry stones. You get like a cedar wood pencil shaving kind of thing that is quite typical of Cabernet Sauvignon grapes. This actually smells like a French wine. Yeah, you got a bit of that whole tobacco kind of thing with Samir. Interesting. I don't smell much Syrah in this, by the way. Charming thing wine tasting, isn't it? Dark fruit in the flavor as well. There's some tannins, but not in an aggressive sort of way. This is like a really smooth drinking kind of wine. It does have boldness and character to it. It would stand up well to some substantial meat dishes. It's not an easy drinking wine by any means, but it is a nice fruity effort, and certainly a lot better than the Chardonnay Sauvignon Blanc. Um, I can see myself drinking this. I actually really could. I should mention I picked these up at my local wine guy's anniversary tasting kind of thing that he held this weekend. Normally these are like $20 a bottle kind of things. I picked them up at 12 today, or well, 80 Danish kroner, if you will, 135 normally. Um, for this sort of wine, in the Danish wine economy today, that is a very fair price. Um, it's a very good glass at $12 a bottle. Definitely, I like this. Still not really feeling the Shiraz though. Shiraz usually has like a sort of a woody, grainy sort of thing to it, like branches, brambles, and a green flavor. My wine guy would call it. sort of like biting into a stick. That doesn't sound right, but it usually adds some punch and character, and I don't feel that. It's nice. It's definitely very, very nice. I can see myself drinking this. On to the next. This is fun, guys. You should try this sometime. Last wine in the lineup here. Oop, daisy. 2014 white wine. This is a sweet white wine. This is made with Muscat grapes, or as they're usually known in Italy as Moscato. Uh, Very popular sweet wine grape used in Italy to produce some low alcohol sweet wines with prickling acidity to them, and this sort of thing. Very, very, very popular dessert wine in most of Europe, I guess. So this is an Italian take, rather an Israeli take on the Italian classic, grown at very, very high altitude. And this is bottled at 6% alcohol by volume, which is low for a wine, meaning that there will probably be a lot of residual sugar left in this wine, which can be a good thing, can be a bad thing, because sweet wines, especially when they're very sweet, they need a lot of acidity to balance the sweetness. But we'll see how they've done. This is, if I remember correctly, even more high altitude than the others behind me here. And actually, I'm just noticing now that this is certifiably kosher for Passover, as approved by some rabbi. Interesting. And there's a piece of cork in there. No, hold on. I can cork my own wine here. Beautiful. Anyway, I don't know if you can see this, but there's always sort of a really light carbonation going on in here. Also very typical for this style of wine. The Moscato di Asti is a very, very famous example of this sort of wine. So this is a lightly carbonated sweet white wine with, there's almost like a soapy lemony smell going on here. Very, very sweet on the nose. This is one of those things that need to be really awesome or really, really bad. I can tell already that a wine like this is going to need a lot of acidity to really come through and not just fall into sweet fruit punch. But let's try. Let's see what these Israelis are up to. Yeah, that's good. there's um, there's definitely enough acidity in here to counterbalance the sweetness. I'm not really a very, very big fan of sweet wines, but I do like low alcoholic sweet wines that do pack an acidic punch to counter everything, and that is definitely what we're dealing with here. There is there's one flavor note that really powers through here, and that would be applesauce, like tart apples mixed with sugar, cooked and then served up dessert style. Maybe some whipped cream. There's there's so much more going on as well. There's like lemon, lime, like honeydew melon kind of thing going in here as well. Beautiful. There's almost more of a Sauvignon Blanc character in this here as well, or more so than in the green fella here behind me. Um, this is quite honestly at $12 a bottle. This is a fabulous glass of wine. I'm enjoying this very much so, very, very much so. Who knew they can make good wine in the Holy Land? Holy shit! I mean, oh, well, that's not good. Um, Very, very nice. All right. Winding this up, as to not turn into a ramble fest as last week's post. Um, Wine from Israel. I was going to assume this would suck, but it actually it does not. I would say these are not fantastic wines. Well, the latter one here is actually really, really fantastic at its price point. The others, the red here, I'd have again. The Chardonnay Sauvignon Blanc. I'd pick something else at the price point. I would say this is on a 100-point scale. This is like 83, 85 or so. It's a good wine. It's a decent wine. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not terribly exciting. A couple more points on this, 87, 88-ish. Definitely, it has character. It feels like more of an old world style kind of wine. By old world, I mean like France, Italy, Spain, that sort of thing. It has character. It has fruitiness. It has everything it needs. Solid, solid effort. This one here, though, I've heard critics go 89 or so on this. I'm gonna top that. I'm gonna go 90 points in this. This is at its price point is a fantastic bottle of wine. Um, Very, very sweet. I'm guessing probably like 150 grams of sugar or residual sugar per liter, thereabouts. But it does have this really, really whining, punchy acidity to power through everything, and it's just it's good. I like it. It's very, very interesting. It's fresh. It's fruity. It has like a lime sort of tropical fruitness character to it that is just phenomenal and interesting and pleasing. Uh, at $20 a bottle, it is a solid buy. At $12 per bottle, it is a must buy. That is how I would put it. Um, so I hope, guys, I'm gonna give you a bit of an intro into Israeli wine here. Definitely a first for me. I don't know about you. If you can find some of these things, do give them a try. If you can find anything out of the ordinary, as always, do give that a try. Um, I hope I've kept this a little short, a little sweeter than last time. And as always, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy these things. If you do, throw us a like. If you don't, well, sorry. Comment, share, have fun, and enjoy your weekend. I'm gonna go find some people to enjoy the rest of these wonderful wines with.